guys, it's your girl T, and I want to go ahead and shout out Devin Brown. Devin sent me this crazy story, and once again, it's coming from Trailer Park Trash, Tennessee. Okay, how you doing? So what's going on now in Tennessee, you ask? What's going on is that over 100 students have been banned from walking across the stage. What happened is that basically they decided to have a senior prank day, and it took place at night, and all these kids, they were supposed to initially come to just TP the hallways. They ended up bringing in dead animals, crickets. They ended up, peeing in the hallways. Rumor has it that somebody took a shit in the hallways. They basically destroyed this school. This school looked a disgusting mess. And now these 100 kids who are involved, they're not being allowed to walk with their class, and now these kids are really upset. The parents are upset. There was also a deputy named James Fisher who was seen letting the kids into the school. He's since been fired, and also the school's principal, Gary Cole, they're saying he's been suspended without pay while they're going through the whole investigation to see how this all came to be. This whole situation is a mess. I want you guys to watch these 2 news clips, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
It's a story you saw first here on Local 8 News. Stephen Powell talked to students to find out what happened that night. Stephen, what'd you get?
Well, Ted, students who were there tell me the doors were open when they showed up, and sheriff's deputies, including the school resource officer, were patrolling outside. But they say the officers didn't know about the vandalism that was happening on the inside. Now, I asked one student who saw the destruction if it really was as bad as everyone was saying. His response, it's worse. Cody Hampton is one of around 100 seniors who showed up Wednesday night with a little mischief on the mind.
Pretty much 2 waves of people that went through. The first wave of people that went through wasn't bad. It was just simple pranks that did no harm.
But then more students showed up, and it took a turn for the worse.
And when I went in, it was awful.
Hampton tells me he saw garbage cans dumped and scattered, urine, ketchup, and baby oil on the walls, and crickets and chickens released into the hallways. Other witnesses say booby traps were set in front of doorways with marbles, causing teachers to slip. One teacher had expensive posters torn off his classroom walls, and students had things stolen from their locker.
I walked out of the building, I looked at the camera, and I said I was not part of this. It was awful.
They tell me only around 20 students took part in the vandalism. Many say they left when they saw what was happening.
This isn't our school, this isn't our class, we're not about that.
The damage was bad enough that Superintendent Tim Blankenship announced Friday afternoon anyone involved in the prank will be blocked from graduating.
I don't think my graduation should be taken away because a couple of people ruined this. They have surveillance of the people who did this.
Shania Woods says she left before the vandalism started.
But peeing on the walls is a disgrace, and it was not my fault. And I'm not going to take charge for something that somebody else did.
For the kids that just did innocent things, it's not fair. It really isn't.
The school district originally only gave students community service as a punishment, but after watching the tape, they say they had to dole out a harsher consequence, which is why they took away graduation. It's unclear yet if charges will be filed. The sheriff's office says they're also investigating if any adults were involved.
Rogue County School Superintendent's decision to not let them take part in graduation activities after that senior prank we've been telling you about went wrong.
As we've reported, some Sequoyah High School seniors left the school a mess, the school system calling it vandalism. Since then, an SRO was fired and the school's principal was placed on unpaid suspension.
Well, new here at 11, WATE 6 on your sides, Whitney Goods spoke with those students and concerned parents tonight.
Earlier this week, much of the senior class at Sequoyah High School took part in a prank that left the school vandalized, but many of them say it was a select few who did most of the damage.
Whenever I got here, I walked through the whole entire school, and it was already bad. Like, they was already letting out crickets, and then the shaving cream was already on the computers.
Now anyone seen on those school security cameras the night of the prank can't walk at graduation.
It is important enough that all of the evidence should be able to be presented on both sides before a decision like this is made.
School board member Joe Cagle spoke up during the meeting, agreeing with them.
There was kids that walked in the building and left. There were kids that did a lot of stuff, and I don't feel like they should all be punished the same.
Several of the students who were involved in that prank and their parents say they were hoping to get the chance to speak in a public forum during tonight's meeting. That didn't happen, but Director of Schools Tim Blankenship did take a moment to say he stands behind his decision not to let them walk at graduation.
Doing the right thing is not always the fault of the thing. I made my decision. I prayed about it. That's all I have to say on that matter.
This isn't who we are. We don't want to be labeled by some prank. The class of 2015 at Sequoyah High School is this, and this is what they left.
In Monroe County, Whitney Good, WAT.
So you guys just watched these 2 news clips, and so my opinion is this: I don't feel bad for any of these kids. First of all, these kids need to learn the difference between a prank and vandalism, and what I saw there was straight up vandalism. And how they so upset they're not able to walk across the stage with their class when you have the principal who's been suspended, he's not getting paid, and you have the deputy sheriff who's been fired. You know what I'm saying? I think their situation's a lot more critical than these kids not being able to walk across the stage. They're still gonna get their diploma, they're just not gonna walk across the stage with the rest of their class, and I don't feel bad for them. I think this entire situation was disgusting, and why should they be rewarded when you have other students who did not partake in this foolishness, who did not, vandalize their school? Why should the ones who did vandalize the school be allowed to walk across the stage? These kids are just gotten besides themselves. I'm down for a senior prank. We had senior pranks at my school and stuff like that. To me, a senior prank is having water balloon fights in the hallway. Maybe letting a dog loose in the cafeteria. Just like really silly stuff. But what they did to me was just straight up, flat out disgusting. And not only should they not be allowed to walk, those same students who were caught on tape, they need to review the tape, identify every student who was there and make them clean that mess up. That shouldn't be on the janitor. That shouldn't be on the cleaning crew. Those same kids who messed up that school need to be back at that school cleaning and trying to rectify the situation. All I'm hearing is a bunch of excuses, but yet and still I'm not hearing any of these students saying, you know what, we take personal responsibility, we'll clean it, we'll get everything up, we'll get everything fixed. Nobody's doing that, but yet and still they're mad and the parents are mad that they're not allowed to walk across the stage. Well, that's what y'all get for being ignorant. So anyways, y'all, go ahead and leave a comment with me your thoughts on this entire trailer trash ass story coming from Trailer Park Trash, Tennessee. How do you feel about this entire situation? Do you feel like the sentence is just too harsh and that these kids should be allowed to walk across the stage? Or do you feel like the school made the right decision by banning all these kids from graduation? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Alright, deuces. Hey YouTube, it's your girl Lovely T, and you can show me some love by hitting that subscribe button, watching my previous videos, and following me on social media.